Hello and welcome to another video from Maths Made Clear with me, Mr. Burrows.
And me, Miss Snowden.
Today we're going to be looking at multiplication.
We're going to take you through some simple strategies you could do with your children at home.
Let's go.
So multiplication is about taking a number of things and repeating them several times. We are trying to see what the total is going to be when we add the same number together multiple times.
Great, so let's have a look at this drawing, very good drawing, of a bag with 5 apples in it. Then, if we took another bag with 5 apples in it, how many apples would we have in total? Well, it would be one lot of 5 and another lot of 5. So if we counted up all of those apples together, we would get 10. What about then if we had 2 more bags, making 4 bags of 5 apples? How many would we have then? Well, again, we can just count the number of apples we've got. We've got 5 and another 5 and another 5 and another 5, which equals 20. So the total number of apples is 20. It's important to say that when we're thinking about multiplication, it seems complicated, but actually all it is repeated addition.
So if we were looking at how we would represent this on a number line, we could start off by finding the number 5. And we know we're going to need to have 4 groups of 5 in total. So we've got 5, then we add another 5 to get to 10, then another 5 to get to 15, and finally another 5, so we get the total of 20. We could show this on a number line, but we could also use a set of beads to show too. So we've got one group of beads here. We've got 5 beads in my first group. We know we need 4 groups of 5 beads. So now I'm going to make another group of 5, another group of 5, and another group of 5. And I can count them together until we get the total of 20 beads.
So at this point, we then might introduce the number sentence. 4 times 5 equals 20. So the times, the X symbol here, that means times. And you could also look at it in terms of lots of. So 4 lots of 5 equals 20. You're actually looking at the part of the 4 times table and the 5 times table. 4 times 5 equals 20. And actually, if you took those beads and you moved 5 of them back, you've got another set of the 5 times table. This would be 3 times 5 equals 15, because you've got 3 groups of 5, and in total, you've got 15.
So we can also write multiplication out. We can do written multiplication when we don't know the times table facts for the problem we have. So if we take the example of 4 times 5, we know that because we know our 5 times table. But what about if we had 4 times 52? Well, it's a bit more tricky. So we could write it out like this, lining our columns up a little bit like we did in column addition, but we're going to line it up just like this.
We could do it another way as well, actually. We could partition. So partition is one of those scary maths words. What I always tell my pupils is that just look at the first few letters of partition. It's part. And really all partitioning means is that we're going to split a number up into its separate parts. So if we had 52, what we could do is we could split it into 50 and 2, split it into the 10s and 1s. And then rather than timesing 52 by 4, what you could do is you could times 50 by 4 and 2 by 4. Well, 2 by 4 is 8 because hopefully we're good with our 4 times table or our 2 times table. And then 4 times 50 is 200 because 4 times 5 is 20. And then it's 10 times bigger than that, so it makes 200.
So how would we write this out? So here, as you can see, we've got number 52 at the top, and then we put the multiply sign and the 4 at the bottom like this. We know we're multiplying each number by 4. So let's start with 4 times 2. We know 4 times 2 is 8, so we can write the 8 underneath this column. Now we're going to have a look at 4 times 5. Now remembering this is not just 5, this 5 represents 50. So although I'm going to do 4 times 5, it's actually 4 times 50. 4 times 5 is 20, so I can write my 20 next to my 8 that I've just written, showing that my 2 has moved into my hundreds column. So now I've got the answer 208.
So then as we get further up the school, we look at something called long multiplication. And this is for multiplying bigger numbers together. So in this case, we have 51 times 42. Now, if we think about partitioning, which is what we talked about earlier, what we're looking to do is we're looking to partition each of the numbers and multiply them each in turn. So it could be that we're looking to multiply the two tens together, so 50 times 40. Then we might multiply one of the tens with one of the ones, so 50 times 2. And then maybe we want to do it the other way around, so 1 times 40. And then finally, multiplying the ones together, 1 times 2. I know that sounds complicated, but actually all it is we're just splitting out all of the tens and ones and just making sure that every number multiplies against each other. Okay?
But we can do it an easier way. And the way that we look at it when we get into the top end of the school is to look at what we call long multiplication, formal multiplication method. And it looks like this, where we line up our numbers in columns. So the ones line up and the tens line up. Now, as we looked at when we were doing our partitioning, what we need to make sure of is that we're multiplying all the different elements of our numbers and then add them up at the end. So to do this, we're going to look at 42, the bottom number in our multiplication. And we're going to separate out the 42 into 2, so we'll multiply 51 by 2, and then we'll multiply 51 by 40. But let's start with 2. Let's do 51 times 2 and look at each part. So we're going to do 2 times 1, which is 2. And then we're going to do 2 times 50. But we don't need to worry about it being 50. Actually, we need to just think it's 5 times 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. So we're going to write 10 there. So we've got 102. Then we're going to move on to 51 times 40. But again, I don't want to think about the 40. I just want to think of it as a 4. And so in order to do that, to represent the fact that it's 40, I'm just going to put a 0 in the ones column. Then I'm going to do 4 times 1, which is 4, written in the tens column. And then I'm going to do 40 times 50. But again, I don't want to think about that. I just want to do 4 times 5, which is 20. So I'm going to write 20 there. And then all we need to do is add together our two numbers. So as you can see, by adding through all the columns, 51 times 42 is 2,142.
Fantastic. Well, we really hope this has been helpful for you. If you're unsure, please ask your child's class teacher. We're always around to help. Don't forget, we've got videos about other topics too, so you can go and find them. Thank you.
Thank you.